How's everything sounding, by the way? Whoa. Welcome in. It was, yeah. Good, thank you. I want you to get a little bit of the ambiance with the, the rain, fireplace, but also get some good music in, some good tunes. We're going back to Wattpad. I had an idea for a part 2, but it's just about towing the line, if not crossing the line entirely, when it comes to what can be put on Twitch or the internet just in general. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna play it safe just a little bit and default back to what we did before, which is reading some good old-fashioned smut that is basically, it's fan fiction. It's people trying to write their own erotica and see how it goes. I actually had one picked out, and I believe I lost my lost my bookmark. So let me do a quick this one sounds perfect, so we'll probably do that. No, I'm just gonna read it out loud. Again, probably just better to be safe than sorry. I'm not even letting it go any further below this, because we're towing a line, and I also am kind of cheating because the tie-off for the robe is being very generous right now. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Nick Reads Some Smut. This is episode 2 of who knows how many. Just kind of doing something fun, doing something interesting, just relaxing. Good vibes, good times. Like I said before, we're reading some Wattpad smut, which is people submitting their own erotica. With that being said, follow along, if you will, at your own discretion. If you are below 18 years old, I highly recommend you click on another channel, because things are about to get hot. They're about to get spicy. Today, we're gonna read The Escort by Kanye Interrupted Me. I apologize, there is a green screen effect, but that is the cover. And that is the writer. You ever think about letting your hair loose? Ashton asked, his breath kissing Amore's neck as they waltzed. My hair's fine, Amore snapped in annoyance. Ashton chuckled. That's not what I meant. His hands slowly hiked up the hem of her dress, and her breath caught. What are you doing? She uneasily glanced around at the dancing couples, giving a new meaning to dirty dancing. He replied quietly, and he entered her. It's a good start. It's a good start, boys and girls. Any and all. Amore Page doesn't bother herself with something as trivial as a relationship with someone of the opposite sex. That being said, male escorts are the only thing she's ever known. Pay the guy to take you out and show everyone that you've still got your girly bits. Simple, except that a chance encounter with Ashton West thwarts her normally perfunctory life. Can a woman with a past let loose and live La Vida Loca like he wants? Chapter 1, in which she's blindsided. Victor was late. No, scratch that. Victor had merely taken it upon himself to further piss me off and forgot our engagement. An engagement I'd forewarned him about exactly 1 week ago. Prick, I thought to myself, glancing at my phone for the 100th time. Prick and Victor didn't go together. Words like gentle, sweet, safe, and average looking were usually associated with him, which is why I had initially picked him out. But now this gentle, sweet, safe, average looking guy had just stood me up at one of the most important functions of my year. My mother's birthday party. Amor? A voice I knew and hated all too well said from behind me. Where's your date? Where's your date? What's his name? Vic? I spun around to face my older sister. Traffic. Grace pulled a face. I hate it when that happens. Her hand traveled to the protruding curve of her belly. Oof, your nephew is already a handful. I forced a laugh. Poor you. Show off. Grace gave me a pitying look. The words I just said mirrored in her face. Well, I've got to go make sure Mom's not pouring herself a 4th glass of red. You know how she is. And she left, head held high, her modest gray Versace dress swishing at her modest fat ankles. I despised the way Grace acted like our mother was a senile half-wit with one foot on the other side. It wasn't fair to her at all, considering the fact that she could still hold a decent conversation and swoon over George Clooney. Who wouldn't? For the billionth time, I tried Victor's number, and for the billionth time, I got voicemail. Son of a bitch, I muttered through clenched teeth. I am gonna castrate Amor? Oh, great. I thought, turning around and ready to lash out at whoever it was who was probably going to ask me why I was dateless at my mother's fancy birthday dinner. You are Amor, right? I realized that my mouth had dried up. Clearing my throat, I swallowed. Yes, and you are? Your date. Without warning, my date leaned in, possessively wrapped an arm around my waist and brought his lips down against mine. The sensation of his warmth against mine instantly warmed me somewhere else, somewhere south, and I pulled away. What the hell? I began. The agency sent me. Your lover boy had an accident this morning. Motorbike, he shrugged. I'm the replacement. So her boyfriend is dead? And they replaced him? Keep your voice down, I hissed, grabbing his arm and attempting to tug him out of the crowded entertainment lounge. It was like pulling a boulder. Could we go somewhere private? Sure. Whatever. He allowed himself to be dragged behind me. Mentally cursing to myself, I led him to the study, slamming the door shut behind us. Victor doesn't own a bike, were the first words out of my mouth. No, he was hit by a bike. Poor cunt. Oh. I probably should be doing a British accent. I feel like this is it's a very British thing to say. Back to it. I stiffened at the word. Who are you again? Ash. Ash, I repeated monotonously. The agency sent me a guy called Ash. He reached into the pocket of his suit. Want one? You look like you could use one. Wow, I am sorry. I'm normally better at reading. Give me one moment. This stream brought to you by non-specific brand peach tea. It's good stuff. Very bad for you. He reached into the pocket of his suit. Want one? You look like you could use one. He proceeded to light a cigarette. You can't smoke in here. He glanced around the cluttered room. I don't see a no smoking sign. Could it be perhaps written in invisible ink? I glared at him, all the while thinking about my best moves out of this situation. Ash, or whatever his name, leaned against one wall, languidly regarding me and puffing on his cigarette. With Victor out of commission for God knows how long, I was stuck in a jam. All my family and friends were under the impression that Vic was my dependable, interesting-looking boyfriend. He was always present at work gatherings, family get-togethers, and even funerals. So Amor is constantly and consistently hiring this rent-a-boyfriend, this male escort. Begs the question, why she needs to do that. Continuing. And now he'd gone and gotten himself hit by a motorcycle. Why was he walking? With the money I fork out, he should be loaded. Someone at the agency obviously thought I was desperate enough to accept a guy called Ash. And now that I look at him, I could see that they really thought I'd be grateful. With midnight black hair, unkempt and on the long side, an errant 5 o'clock shadow. And were those tattoos creeping up his neck? What the hell is that? I asked, ignoring politeness and pointing an index finger at his neck. He reached up and stroked his nape. Nothing? Nothing? I spat, approaching him to get a closer look. I peered up at the inked skin. A scorpion? A fucking scorpion? I shook my head at how I was turning into a cursing truck driver. I'm a Scorpio. Don't believe in that shit, but I got it done anyway. Were they high? I said, more to myself. Why you? No one's gonna believe I'd be dating someone like you. He chuckled, his glittering green eyes veiled with menace. Right back at you. I imagine he finger-gunned as well. There was a knock at the door, and Grace's high-pitched voice came in. Amor? I know you're in here. Someone saw you, she called, no doubt wondering if she should add, with a man. We're about to cut the cake. Great, my sister. I shook my head, so close to hyperventilating. Ash seemed to sense this. Look, I'm good at what I do, okay? By the time the night is over, everyone will think you've fallen in love with someone else, he said calmly, loosening his tie. And call me Ashton. Okay, I squeaked. Now come here. I reluctantly obeyed him. What are you... Giving your sister a show, Ashton interjected, unbuttoning the first 2 buttons of my blouse. I take my job very seriously. His fingertips lightly brushed the skin of my collarbone. Despite myself, I felt a blush creep up my neck. It's not necessary. It is to me. Unlocking the door, he pulled it open. I braced myself for Grace's critical eyes. She didn't disappoint. I thought Vic was in here. She threw Ashton a disapproving look. Didn't I tell you? Vic and I were over, I told her, relishing in her shocked face. Grace didn't believe in splitting up. She and Milton had been together since the day he'd loaned her his special fountain pen for their finals in elementary school. Ashton West. Ashton stuck a hand out to clasp my sister's. Pleased to meet you. Right. I'll just... Is it a scorpion? Grace's eyes were as wide as saucers. Correct. You have very good vision, Ashton replied. He turned to me. Babe, your buttons are undone. My hand flew to my chest. Right, thanks. Shall we? Grace, the cake? She shook her head as if trying to shake away the image of my peeking lace bra. Of course. She bounded away. I shot Ashton a glare. Way to go, babe. No one will believe this. I'm great at long term. In fact, I'm the best, he said simply, his arms slinking around my waist. You just need to chill and remember the story of how we fell in love. Oh, this will be good. Do tell me how we fell in love. His hand ran down my hip bone. I'm your new lawyer. It was love at first consultation. I snorted. You, a lawyer? Don't judge a book by its cover, Amor. I really was a lawyer. And what, you decided male prostitution paid better? His brow furrowed and he released me. I'm insulted. I have no doubt that, despite the agency's strict no-sex policy, you take a little extra for cunnilingus. He stared at me. People still use that word? He laughed. It's oral, woman. Oral. Oral. Shut it, okay? I'm hyperventilating here, I muttered. I date men with class, and you? You have no class. According to your file, you don't date at all. And geez, Victor? I think you're the only female out there who could possibly think of Victor in a romantic way. He sneered. Victor's stable. He's normal. But you wouldn't know any of that because you're this. I waved a hand at him. Besides, I wasn't romantically involved with him. It was strictly business. Right. Look, I'm starving, so shall we? He held out an arm. I begrudgingly took it. Just keep your mouth shut. Speak when spoken to, and even then, keep your answers simple. Sure, Mom. I'm serious, this is my life, I hissed, smiling at a passing couple I knew vaguely. Friends of Grace and her poof husband. Wow. Not cool. Derogatory term. Not cool. Again, I didn't write this. I will stop when it gets very uncomfortable, but we're not there yet. We'll see. And this is my job. Oh, and absolutely no talks about our imaginary sex life, okay? Whatever. She's always made those mewing sounds, my mother giggled, wiping tears away from her eyes. Even as a kid, I thought they were because of nightmares. Now I guess they were just sexy dreams. Ashton laughed, taking another swig of Red Bull. Well, now she mews when she climaxes. He said conspiratorially, just as my mother banged a fist on the table in yet another fit of laughter. So funny, Mom. I was past shooting Ashton death glares, past even trying to pry him out of the dining room. I was simply glad that my mother was the only one within earshot of his crassness. Most of the guests were entranced by the show Grace was putting on in one corner. She claimed her unborn child kicked her in the stomach every time someone used a bad word. Amora, you've gone and bagged yourself an Adonis, Mum grinned, patting Ashton's arms. At least he's in the land of the living, unlike that corpse-looking Vincent. Victor, I said through clenched teeth. That's what I said. Why, thank you, Miss Page, Ashton said brightly. You're quite the Venus, if you must know. Odd, he's flirting with her. To my dismay, my 65-year-old mother tittered like a pigtailed schoolgirl. Be still, my heart. Ashton, honey, could we talk in private? I said, clearing my throat and sending the sweetest look I could possibly direct at his arrogant face. Ooh, private, my mother said. Sure, my luscious bundle of sexiness, Ashton replied. Follow me. It took all my strength not to slap him then and there. Once we waded through the swarm of scavengers and headed into the study, I was beyond my boiling point. What the hell do you think you're doing, asshole? I snapped, balling my hands into fists. I rarely resorted to violence, but this man had pushed buttons I didn't know existed until tonight. Before the cutting of the cake, he'd taken the liberty of squeezing my ass when I'd stood up to help Grace. Wolf whistles had erupted. Once we had our slices, he thought it would be a potent display of affection if he smeared icing across my lips and licked it. Cue more wolf whistles. Ashton had gone from grabbing ass to sucking my neck, to declaring his love for me during dinner, and finally, to explaining in great detail the noises I made when I came. There were questions about Victor's sudden disappearance, of course. Victor had been in my life for over a year now, and everyone had been hinting at marriage, which certainly wasn't about to happen, so it was obviously a shock for them to see me parading a completely new man. Slowly, my whole dignified persona was crumbling before my very eyes in front of close friends and family, no less. I was becoming nothing more than a slut who jumped from man to man and didn't give a damn what other people thought. And I was positively explosive. I'm doing my job, Ashton replied, reaching into his pockets again. I slapped his hand away. You're not smoking again. Says who? You? Says the woman who's paying you, I said in a low voice, scowling at him. He cocked his head, seeming to consider this, then shrugged. You'll pay me whether you like it or not, but I'm smoking. His sentence was punctuated by him digging into his pockets. I can't believe they sent me a smoker. I'm on the road to Quitterville. A cigarette was in the corner of his mouth as he said it alight. It's naturally a long road. I sank to the ground, my back against one wall. I can't win, I said to myself. I have a great job. I'm a respected member of society. I go to church sometimes. But then they send me Ashton West. Why did they send me a menace? Why? Did I do something wrong? Did I? Honestly, you're too fucking uptight. Ashton was staring down at me, a smile tugging at his lips. Come on, get up. I think I'll wallow. He sighed. About the sex thing. You know, what I was telling your mother? I'm sorry, that was immature of me, he said quietly. I'm just beginning to get a kick out of making you mad. It's too easy, though. Just go. Please, just go. He reluctantly squatted to my level. You ever ask yourself why you don't date? I don't think that's any of your business. He gently flicked my chin. One of the best love gurus in the city, and you can't get a date Saturday night. There's a huge problem here. Get out of my face, I muttered, not even bothering to swat it away. You know, I was thinking to myself, Amor Page, Dr. Amor Page, relationship guru, hires guys to date her. The Amor Page. He shook his head as if he'd just seen a car accident. Or a motorcycle accident. Heyo, second Victor. Continuing. What is this world coming to? Ashton, I'm warning you, I advised through clenched teeth. He got to his feet, pacing the room. And then, once I met you, everything fell into place. You're a cold, emotionless bitch who, ironically, has no capacity for building relationships. I jumped up, hand on my hip. What did you say? He took a deep drag on the cigarette. I believe this is where I ask if I stuttered. Why don't you go to hell and fuck yourself? I exploded, but that wasn't enough. And after that, struck your dick with a cactus. And then suck a porcupine. And when you're done, jerk off a snake. What the fuck? Oh, that's a gross visual. Continuing. And when you're done, jerk off a snake. And then kill yourself. I was out of breath when I was done with my childish outburst, but when Ashton's face lit up like Christmas, that was the final straw. It's over, I snapped. What's over, your little speech? This relationship. But we never had a relationship, he replied with a grin, stubbing the butt in the palm of his hand. He winced. I love that pain. You're sick. That's a strong possibility. I have been feeling slightly feverish with all this scorching hatred you're setting my way. A smile spread across his face. You need to chill out, Amor. Isn't that what you preach on the radio? See yourself out, I mumbled, waving a flippant hand. Sure thing, babe. The babe was definitely just to infuriate me. And it did. That's chapter 1. Interesting twist. Amor is a relationship guru that has to hire men to date her. Sounds like she's not a very good relationship guru, or she shouldn't be giving out relationship advice to anyone. Chapter 2, in which she has a slumber party. So after countless baby mamas appearing on our doorstep, I'm just wondering if this whole bullshit is even worth it, whined Rhonda from Newtown, her voice dropping several octaves. Well, Rhonda, has he claimed responsibility for all those kids? I don't even bother to caution her about cursing on local radio. Well, yeah, every paternity test came out positive. And these kids were all conceived before he met you? I guess so. Then what's wrong? Be grateful you have a man who steps up to the plate without shrugging and muttering, I don't know if it's mine. I paused, taking a deep breath. I was yelling. If you love him, you'll appreciate that he's being responsible about it. It's not like he's going to jump back into bed with... Excuse me, but how do you think it feels to know that he was running around town fucking without protection? I can imagine that you're hurt and disgusted, but think about it. When you two decide to have your own children, at least you know that you can depend on him. This show is bullshit. Rhonda from Newtown cut off, leaving me hanging. Just another day at the radio station. I need to assess my life. Quick pause. This is exactly what I was just talking about. Why? Why is this her job? Why is she doing this? She's, I'm assuming, getting paid to be a relationship advice giver on the radio. And she's bad at it. No wonder she has to hire people to date her. I know that sounds kind of mean, but whatever, she's fictional. If this was a real life scenario, I would be there would be more pity involved. Continuing. The rose-colored glasses I'd been wearing for a long time were starting to fall from my face and smash to the ground in a dozen pieces. Being an agony aunt to a town full of unappreciative bitches was only going to take me thus far. I took one more call, a teenager wondering if she should give it up on prom night, before saying goodbye and removing my headphones. Roxanne, my producer, quickly met me on my way out of the booth, grabbing my arm. "And what the hell was that?" she asked, running a hand through her mane of long blonde hair. There was a twitch under her right eye that told me that she was stressed the heck out, was trying not to explode at me, her cash cow. What do you mean? I knew perfectly well what she meant. You practically called that listener an ingrate, Amor. You raised your voice at her, and because of that, you're probably going to get a lot of flack from upstairs. I shrugged her off of me. I'm going home. I'm tired. Not so fast. Roxanne's pretty face was set in determination. She folded her arms across her voluptuous chest. You have a dinner tonight, promoting the show. And I am going to make sure you attend. Amor, this is important. Are you kidding me? I checked my wristwatch. It's almost 6, Roxy. I'm aware of that. And you want... It's a black tie event, babe. Bring your boyfriend. I'm bored as fuck, Ashton mumbled, grabbing his 5th glass of Shiraz from the passing waiter. Is that how you pronounce it? Shiraz? S-H-I-R-A-Z. Okay. Continuing. Could you stop drinking? I hissed. You won't be able to hold a decent conversation. I thought I was supposed to keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean, I muttered, tugging at the hem of my dress. Roxanne had insisted that I look sexy but not trashy, you know? At tonight's radio show promo dinner. Hence the slutty McSlut outfit I had on. Seriously, this isn't worth the money, Ashton said loudly, referring to the handsome check I'd written before we met up at the Willis Tomlinson. Keep your fucking voice down. I was cursing more and more lately. Maybe I had a brain disease. Victor had been discreet when it came to our faux relationship, but Ashton was the complete opposite. I had the sinking feeling that, in a drunken stupor, he'd blurt out that I was paying him for his company. And that would be the final nail in the coffin that was my social life. Amor, there you are, Roxanne's chirpy voice sang as she approached us. She looked amazing. I was the first to admit that Roxanne was gorgeous. Unlike me, she looked more than comfortable in her gold sequin dress, and with her hair tumbling to her shoulders in a mass of golden curls, she looked like a movie star. Ashton gave a low wolf whistle. You one of my sweetheart's friends? Roxanne gave me a puzzled glance. I produced her show. Amor, is this your date? She leaned in towards me. What happened to Victor? Stupid accident prone Victor. Yeah, she's my goddess. Ashton pulled me towards him, his arm around my waist. The goddess Amor. I forced a laugh, trying to extract myself from his embrace. He's a little tipsy. What do you want, Rox? I want you to meet Kenneth Lesnar. You know him, right? Rox's voice was excited. He sponsored Tyra's show once upon a time. Lovely, I said through gritted teeth, wrenching Ashton's hand from my ass. Well, you can leave Ashton at the bar. Oh, I think he's had quite enough to drink. I'll be with you in 5 seconds. I smiled until Rox sashayed away before shooting Ashton my darkest glare. The agency specifically said you're limited to 1 glass of alcohol, and babe, no one tells me what to do. Not even you. He shrugged. Besides, I'm not drunk, ma'am. Pissing you off is just entertaining. What are you, 5? 30, but I'll take that as a compliment. I shook my head in disbelief. Look, just mingle. In silence. I'll be back soon. I flounced off, wanting this night to be over already. Roxanne and Lesnar were huddled in a corner, laughing like schoolchildren. Lesnar might have been attractive once upon a time, but Botox overkill had turned him into a real housewife. His hairline was roughly 2 centimeters from the crown of his head, and dyed in electric gold, it looked like the tail of a Shetland pony. A while back, he probably had eyebrows, but laser surgery, perhaps in the hopes of erasing an unfortunate unibrow, had taken away the hair in that area. My first impression of Kenneth Lesnar was a mildly overweight metrosexual. Amor Page, how nice to finally meet you, he said, stretching out a meaty hand. For a small guy, Lesnar had a deep, powerful voice. That was not what I portrayed. All right, come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Amor Page, how nice to finally meet you, he said, stretching out a meaty hand. For a small guy, Lesnar had a deep, powerful voice. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Lesnar. It hurt to smile these days. Please, call me Ken. I love your show. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. I was pretty sure that Lesnar didn't tune in every Friday afternoon to listen to people complaining about their love life. I was very sure that all he saw were the ratings. In this industry, ratings were everything, and I was willing to bet that if a popular show about the wonders of 2-ply toilet paper, Lesnar would kiss my ass. It was all about ratings. Thank you. Ken was just talking about expanding Ask More. Rox cut in. Damn it. That's my fault. Ken was just talking about expanding Ask More, Rox cut in, a wide smile on her face. She looked like a size 4 shark. Expanding? I arched a brow. A book, Amor. Kenneth attempted a smile and failed. His Botox jaw simply wouldn't cooperate. Think about it. Your advice could be available to... And where am I supposed to find the time to write this book? I couldn't help my snarky tone. Roxanne laughed weakly, attempting to diffuse my sudden annoyance. Come on, Amor. You have plenty of time. You could start now, Ken chimed in, and be done in maybe 4 months, 5. I could begin talks with publishing houses. You've forgotten my community service, Rox. What am I supposed to do? I made a commitment. Commitment. I wasn't going to be pushed around just for Lesnar to make money off of me. Lesnar turned to Rox. Community service? She go to jail? Idiot. It's an orphanage. I help out there when I can, I said quietly. I can't just hunch up over my desk and start writing. I'm fine with the show. Amor, think about all the money you'll make. Money isn't everything. Lesnar's sky blue eyes went hard. Roxy, talk to her. I want an answer by Monday. And he turned and left. Are you crazy? Rox exclaimed, shaking me. Do you know what you've just passed up? Are you crazy? You know how full my plate is. Besides, I'm not a writer. At all. Rox released me, sniffing. I'm gonna go talk to upstairs about this. Go ahead. She stormed away, probably thinking of ways to end my life. Ashton chose that exact moment to appear, drink in hand. Wordlessly, he handed it to me. It was down my throat in 2 seconds. Thanks, I mumbled, handing him back the empty glass. Don't mention it. I happened to hear that proposition. Congrats. I glared at him. Eavesdropping's very childish. So is SpongeBob, but hey, I still watch it. Ashton's cool. He paused, gauging my poker face. You want to get out of here? Please, I said, taking his hand. Amor, are you hungover? Grace's nose wrinkled in disgust. She was swathed in the most putrid ankle-length maternity dress I'd ever laid eyes on, all shades of green and pink. No, I lied, reluctantly stepping aside to let her into my apartment. It's 7 o'clock, Grace. Why are you punishing me? I had been passed out on the couch until she began fist-bumping my door. That's called knocking. But, you know. Punishing you? She sniffed the air, her eyes pointed on my striped boxers and vest. Looks like you're doing that to yourself. I smell pot, Amor. I can't believe you. Honestly, I don't know what pot smells like, I winced, rubbing my temples with my index fingers. My eyes landed on empty bottles of Smirnoff. I don't remember drinking last night. At least not this much. Clearly. Grace set her handbag on my couch, surveying the disaster that was my living room. You had a little party, didn't you? What were you celebrating? Someone groaned from my bedroom, and we both froze. Amor? Grace's eyes met mine. Who's that? Search me, I whispered, grabbing her arm. No idea. He's in your bedroom. I let go. Could be a she. Hello, Grace called out, her voice steady. Come out. I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes. You're so dramatic, Grace. Why don't you... The rest of my rhetoric died on my lips when Ashton padded into the room, hair disheveled and topless. Damn, he said, rubbing his neck. It felt like that goddamn princess on that goddamn pea. That's the end of chapter 2. Not a lot of sexing going on, I'm realizing. It's build up, it's fine. Fortunately, we didn't get to too much smuttiness with this episode, but I have a good feeling next time we do this, whatever form it may be in, it's gonna be a lot more saucy. If you wanna follow us to keep up to date with whatever we're streaming about, follow us at twitch.tv/GoodGooseInc if you're watching us here live, or just search for us at Good Goose Inc. anywhere on any social media. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's TikTok, it's everywhere. Just search for Good Goose Inc. and there you'll find us. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.